Hi, this is John Stephen Gurney, and I would like to talk about my graphic novel series called Fuzzy Baseball. So the first one in the series was called Fuzzy Baseball, and it's about two teams. One team is the Fernwood Valley Fuzzies, and these are the good guys in the story. They're a good bunch of players. They're very talented. They're very nice, but there's a problem, and that is that they always seem to lose to these guys, the Rocky Ridge Red Claws. These players are very talented too, but they're not very nice. They're kind of nasty. And the story is also about Blossom Honey Possum. And she is the world's biggest Fernwood Valley Fuzzy fan. She's always cheering them on. She's rooting for them. And she gets tired of watching them lose to the Red Claws. So she decides, instead of complaining about it, I'm going to see if I can make a difference. So she learns how to play baseball. She gets really good. And then she signs a contract to join the team. And she's going to see if she can make a difference. So the story takes place during her first day in the team. Oh, and the story also has an announcer. His name is Izzy Lizardo. And he gets very emotional whenever he describes all the action in the game. So the game's about to start. There's a big crowd. Everyone's very excited. And the pitcher for the Fuzzies is Sandy Koufax. And you know what? He's doing a great job. He manages to strike out everybody on the Red Claws except for one guy. And the one guy that he can't strike out is Reggie Rhino. And Reggie Rhino hits a home run every time he's up. So during 9 innings, he's up 3 times. He hits 3 home runs. And the Fuzzies can't get any runs because the pitcher for the Red Claws is Gator Gibson. And he's doing such a good job that the Fuzzies can't score. So now it's the bottom of the 9th inning. And the Red Claws are winning 3-0. And, it's not so bad that they're winning, but they're also being really horrible sports. They're making fun of the Fuzzies. They're being very rude. And Blossom is not really surprised by this because, these guys have this kind of reputation. But what does come as a surprise to Blossom is how the Fuzzies are acting. So these are her heroes. She's there in the dugout with them for the first time, and they're kind of mopey. It's like they're not even trying anymore. It looks like they gave up, and she's right here. She's getting frustrated. So she says, "Come on, you guys, don't give up. The game isn't over." And then Pepe Perito says, "Estás loca?" In Spanish, "Are you crazy? There's nothing we can do about it. The pitcher's too good. It's hopeless. We can't, it's just nothing we can do." And she says, "Well, you know what? I've been paying attention, and I noticed that every time he moves his tail one way, he throws one kind of a pitch. He moves his tail a different way, he throws a different kind of a pitch. So if you pay attention to his tail, you can tell what kind of pitch is coming, and you're going to know where to swing." So Pepe is like, "Okay, I'm going to give it a try." So Pepe Perito is a really good player. He steps up to the plate. He watches the tail. He knows where to swing. And crack, he gets on the base. He gets a hit. And next up is Pamba Lamb, and she knocks it deep into the outfield. And this guy catches it, so she's out. But Pepe is able to run the second base. So we call that a sacrifice fly. And next up is Jackie Rabbitson. And he's a really good player. He bunts it. He makes it to first base. And Pepe runs to third base. And now next up is Larry Boa. And Larry Boa hits it up in the air. It goes up, up, up. It comes down here. And this guy's trying to fancy catch behind his back. And he drops it. He makes an error. So now the bases are loaded. And Bo Grizzly is up. And Bo Grizzly is like the big slugger in the team. And everyone's very excited. They want him to hit a grand slam. And the Red Claws decide that they're going to take their pitcher out of the game. And they call the bullpen to get Fernando del Toro. So new pitcher's coming in. And now there's a big matchup between the big relief pitcher and the big slugger. And the first 3 pitches come. The bear, he doesn't move. He doesn't do anything. But those pitches aren't in the strike zone. So it's 3 balls. Next one comes. It's in the strike zone. He doesn't swing. So it's a strike. 3 balls, 1 strike. Next one comes right in the strike zone. He takes a big swing and he knocks it out of the park. It's out of here. But unfortunately, it's on the wrong side of the foul pole. So it's a foul ball, strike 2. So now 3 balls and 2 strikes. And now Fernando's got to be careful because if he gives him another good pitch, he might hit a grand slam. But if there's a bad pitch, he might walk in and run if it's a ball. So he's like, "Oh, I know this bear. This bear, he is hungry for a big fat grand slam home run. This bear, he thinks Fernando's afraid to throw ball 4 and walk in or run. Fernando's not afraid of nothing." So he winds up, he throws a pitch, and you got to read the book to find out what happens. But that's about the halfway point. So the story goes on quite a bit from there. Anyway, for the second book in the series, I thought it would be fun if the Fuzzies played a team full of mysterious baseball ninjas. So there's one ninja, there's another ninja, there's another ninja, there's another ninja. And these are all members of the Sashimi City Ninjas. And they're the opposing team in Fuzzy Baseball 2, Ninja Baseball Blast. So, the Fuzzies, they always hear these rumors that there's this mysterious baseball that goes on, on the other side of the world with mysterious baseball rules and everything. So they decide to travel, have an away game. They're going to go to Sashimi City and they're going to meet the ninjas and they're going to play a game against them. So, they have fun, seeing a different culture and exploring. And when the game starts, at first, they're kind of thrown because they have a very different style of play. And they're kind of intimidated. And, they're trying to, they're not playing the way they play. They're trying to play the way the other team plays. And they're not very good at it. And they keep messing up. But then they decide, okay, baseball is baseball. Let's just play the way we know how to play. So they start playing their own style. And they start doing good. They're holding their own. They're pulling the lead. And it's an exciting game. But all of a sudden, something happens. The ninjas say, do you think it's time? Yes, I think it's time. And the crowd starts going, Morpho, Morpho, Morpho. And the manager says, I hereby declare it's time to engage the Morpho ball. And they bring out the Morpho ball. And the Fuzzies are like, what is the Morpho ball? They never heard of the Morpho ball. So this is something completely, they've never heard of. And it turns out the Morpho ball is kind of like, a Pokeball. It can transform the players. And I thought it would be fun because, in the stories that we get from Japan, lots of times there's transformations that happen, whether it's in Pokemon or whether it's in Kaiju with the giant Godzilla. So I thought it'd be fun if there was an element of that in the story. So both teams can use the Morpho ball and they transform into kind of giants and the game gets kind of crazy. And I'm not going to say how it ends, but this is just kind of a wacky story. We have a lot of fun with this one. So the third book, I thought it'd be fun if they played a team full of robots. And book number 3 is RBI Robots. And the Geartown Clankies, at first they show up and they just look like a really weird looking team. They're kind of unusual. And, they're looking at them and they're like, okay, well, they look kind of weird, but they're really good players. And they're warming up in the field. And Blossom's like, well, they're good players. Let's have a good game. So the game starts and this guy, Hammy's looking at him like he's a little weird. And when he comes in the score, his mask falls off and they can see that he's a robot. And then all of the other players take off their masks and it looks like they're all robots. So Blossom is like, robots. She's got some kind of a fear of robots. And Grizz is like, what is this, a trick or something? What's going on here? And the manager, whose name is Clunky Dent, explains that, their life as a robot was very dull and boring. And there was no joy, and they learned that if they play baseball, they can have some fun. So they all, enjoy the camaraderie of playing baseball. And the Grizzlies like, well, that's good, but you guys, a robot can hit the ball a mile. It's not going to be a fair game. And they said, no, we're programmed that we can't do any better than, regular players do. We kind of, we're limited in terms of how good. We can be good, but we can't be like over the top good. So, okay, they decide they're going to have play. It's going to be a good, fair game. And the umps have to look in the rule book to find out if robots are allowed to play. And they see there's nothing against it. Also, it's Blossom. She's still afraid of robots. But the umps say that you can have the game, but the robots can't recharge during the game. You can't plug in and recharge. Just keep playing. And that doesn't help. Blossom is still really afraid of robots. It turns out that in her, all growing up, she's kind of had this fear of robots that she grew up with. So Grizz says to her, okay, look, you're afraid of robots. You don't have to play. You can sit on the side. We're not going to make you play, but, the game's going to go on. So it's a good, exciting game. They're really evenly matched. Both sides are doing really good. And there's a couple side things that happen in the story, too, that I don't want to give away. But one of the funny things, I think, is that Hammy Sosa is trying to get his own graphic novel published. So he kind of wrote something called Pig City, and it's a detective graphic novel. So within the book, there's these a couple other pages from Hammy Sosa's his graphic novel. Anyway, back to the game. They one by one, the robots start running out of power and the game keeps going on. And then the game's tied and they go into extra innings. So here's the 8th inning, the 9th inning, 18th inning, 23rd inning, 27th inning, 30th inning. The game just keeps going on. And the crowds are, I guess these guys are the night nocturnal, so they're having a good time, but everyone else is falling asleep. And the Fuzzies are all falling asleep. Like everybody's running out of power. It's the 38th inning. And the Grizz says, well, nobody's awake. We can't bat. I guess we lose the game. And Blossom says, well, I'm going to go in. She decides that she's finally ready to go in. And the Grizz says, well, I don't care if we lose. I just want to get some sleep. And Blossom says, I don't care if we win. I just want to face my fear. So she's going to go in there. And, the catcher, he's out of power. She steps up to the plate. The pitcher just runs out of power after the last pitch. The ball rolls toward the plate. It gets closer and closer. She hits it, crack, and it rolls toward Axel Rodriguez, but he's out of power. So she just has to walk around the bases, and all the robots are out of power. But something happens. It's they've been playing so long that it's morning. The sun's coming up, and as soon as the sun pops up, it hits the robots, and then they get little solar panels that pop out of their heads, so they recharge. And she's not done running the bases yet. So you got to read the book to find out what happens. So anyway, those are the 3 Fuzzy Baseball books, kind of a little summation of each. So I think that if you're a fan of baseball, and if you like a funny book and a little bit of imagination, I think you will enjoy these. And they're all published by Paper Cuts. So I hope you check them out. Okay, thank you.